2 years of marriage. My husband's first love got divorced and came back to America. That night, he didn't come home for the first time ever. When Maverick's mom once offered me $500,000 to leave him, I said no. Now I'm ready to counter. Offer $1 million and I'll sign those divorce papers. After all, her dream daughter-in-law is single again. I'm making space, she should be thrilled, right? 6 a.m., I knocked on my mother-in-law's bedroom door. 10 minutes later, the whole Sterling household was in chaos. 2 hours after that, Maverick received divorce papers with my signature already on them. That evening, I was dancing with a hot, younger guy at the club, when Maverick's people shut down the entire bar. Vivian, it's 6 in the morning. Shouldn't you be making breakfast? What kind of tantrum is this? My mother-in-law stood there furious, curler still and staring at me in the doorway. And that skirt way too short. What will people think? Are you trying to embarrass the entire Sterling family? She pointed at my mini skirt. Absolutely livid, Maverick loved girls with long black hair. White dresses, that pure innocent look. His mom said being a Sterling wife meant following the rules. No showing shoulders or legs. Can't embarrass the family name. 2 years of marriage and I'd almost forgotten Vivi and Carter have these gorgeous long legs that deserve to see daylight. I waste them seeing my silence. Thinking I'd backed down again. She started jabbing her finger at my nose. Right now, immediately go upstairs and change and get to the kitchen. We want a full American breakfast this morning. Hey, I lifted my hand, pushing her finger aside. Mrs. Sterling. Let's talk business. What did you just call me? She looked at me like I'd grown a second head. Vivian, have you lost your mind? Minutes later, I sat on the couch. Mrs. Sterling sat across from me, still with messy curlers and that exhausted, sagging face. This usually elegant socialite had now lost her composure. For the third time. You want me to give you $1 million and then you'll divorce? Maverick. My sister-in-law, Harper, also stared at me with contempt. Vivian, you're obsessed with my brother. You'd never actually leave him. I ignored her, speaking directly to Mrs. Sterling. He didn't come home last night. If I'm right, Celeste returned to the country yesterday. They were together all night long. Mrs. Sterling's face went through a rainbow of emotions. Harper suddenly squealed with delight. Oh, my God. Celeste is back. No wonder my brother was in such a good mood yesterday. Mrs. Sterling shot her a death glare. Bert quickly covered her mouth. After all, being unfaithful during marriage. Not a good look. You've always loved her. Now you can finally be mother and daughter. $1 million isn't unreasonable, right? I tapped the table, sliding the divorce agreement toward her. Just say yes and I won't take a single penny of marital assets. Mrs. Sterling grabbed the papers. Sure enough, black and white. It said I'd leave with nothing. Not $1, but she looked at me suspiciously, not believing I'd give up so easily. Mom, what are you waiting for? This is amazing news, say yes already. Harper kept pushing. She and Celeste were super close. Which meant she never liked me anyway. Whatever, before I tolerated her because she was family. But soon we'll be strangers. I don't care anymore. 10 minutes later. I had the money. Then I went upstairs and grabbed my already packed suitcase. Coming back down. Basically the entire Sterling family was in the living room. Including my usually stern, serious father-in-law. He actually been decent to me. Never made things difficult. Even helped out my family when they needed it. So when leaving, I only said goodbye to him. Dad, this is the last time I'll call you that. Take care of yourself, your leg problems get worse in winter. Have the staff make you more soup. I saw the gray-haired man sigh softly. Then he waved me over in front of everyone. He gave me a card. This is another $1 million. Not much, but take it. I thought, lost the love. Lost the husband, but I've got $2 million. I could count those zeros all day. My real dad would need 20 years to earn this much. I didn't refuse, I took it graciously. Thank you, Dad. Shameless Harper muttered under her breath. I was in a better mood now. Didn't want to argue with her. I pocketed the card. I said goodbye to my father-in-law. And rolled my suitcase straight out the door. 2 hours later. My signed divorce papers were delivered to Maverick's office. By his secretary, Mr. Sterling. Your wife had this sent over. She said, to let her know once you've signed. Maverick was busy, didn't even look up. Put it aside, I don't have time right now. Mr. Sterling, I really think you should look at this first. The secretary's voice was quiet. Maverick was annoyed, but when he saw those huge black letters spelling out divorce agreement, his pen froze mid-signature. He picked up the thin stack of papers, slipped through them, his eyes landing on Vivian's signature at the bottom. But moments later, Maverick tossed the agreement back to his secretary. Call her, tell her I'll be home at 8 tonight. But tonight, you're supposed to have that welcome dinner for Miss Celeste. Maverick's eyes narrowed. Make the call. The secretary didn't dare hesitate. Yes, sir. Too bad for him, I hadn't just blocked Maverick. I blocked everyone around him, too. Honestly, if his German Shepherd had social media, I would have blocked the dog, too. Mr. Sterling? Your wife seems to have blocked me. Maverick's face darkened further. He grabbed his phone and pressed Vivian's name. Poor guy, didn't even know he was the first one? I blocked. Maverick put down his phone, pulled out a cigarette and lit it. You can go, he dismissed the secretary. After finishing his smoke, Maverick tried to refocus on work. But Harper called, bro. You can finally separate from that desperate Vivian and be with Celeste, aren't you excited? Isn't this amazing? Harper explained clearly what's going on. What is Vivian up to now? Maverick stood up irritably. Loosening his tie, he was gone one night. And this woman had escalated to this level. Didn't she? Think about what would happen if he actually signed those papers. What would she do then, bro? Vivian asked Mom for $1 million. Then agreed to divorce you. She already left, she was smart enough to only take her personal stuff. Didn't touch anything from the Sterling house, bro. I gotta tell Celeste the good news. Harper was chattering happily when suddenly the call disconnected. Maverick grabbed his suit jacket and headed for the door. Where is Vivian right now? He asked his secretary. Sorry. Mr. Sterling, we don't know. Sorry, Mr. Sterling. Your wife blocked all our numbers. Maverick felt rage rising. But he maintained his composure. Didn't she say to call her back after signing? The secretary glanced at Maverick's expression. Your wife said, once you sign. Just meet her Monday morning at 9 at City Hall. She promises she won't be late. Maverick stood there, his face growing darker. Finally, he removed his glasses and handed them to his assistant. Find out where my wife is. Notify me when you have information. Yes, Mr. Sterling. Prepare for the meeting. Maverick turned and went back to his office. Today's project was extremely important. Would determine the Sterling Corporation's trajectory. For the next 5 years, he'd been working around the clock for days. Last night he pulled an all-nighter at the office to finish it. Vivian could throw her tantrum. But he couldn't play along. For Maverick, work always came first. Didn't care about the Sterling family drama. Didn't want to think about what Maverick was thinking either. Right now, I was in the apartment my dad bought me before marriage. Hugging my teddy bear and crying my eyes out. Vivian, haven't you cried enough? My best friend, Aria. Finally couldn't take it anymore. Handing me a tissue, I took the tissue. Wiped my tears and kept crying into my bear. I was divorced, I was only 25 years old. But I, Vivian Carter, was now a divorcee. My value had tainted. I'd probably get married again someday. But if I couldn't find someone richer than Maverick, every socialite in the city would laugh at me forever. Let's go out tonight and clear your head. My sister's bar just opened. I heard it's packed with the hottest guys in town. I hesitated for like 2 seconds and agreed. I hadn't worn a sexy dress in 2 years and 1 month. The day I met Maverick for our arranged date. My dad's people literally dragged me there. I was only 22, Maverick was almost 30. So obviously I wasn't into it. Sure enough, when we met, it was July and he was wearing a full suit and tie. Looking like he just stepped out of a boardroom negotiation. And me, I had pink highlights. Wore a tube top and hot pants. My dad saw my pink hair and almost passed out. He tried to say nice things about me to Maverick, but couldn't even form complete sentences. Maverick didn't react much, though. He stood up and gentlemanly pulled out my chair. I didn't want to get married anyway. So I just did my thing, ate what I wanted. Drink what I wanted, definitely not acting like a proper lady. He was the serious, no-nonsense type. I was young and loved having fun. So naturally I figured nothing would happen. But I didn't expect Maverick to ask me out. Several more times. My dad was thrilled saying this marriage might actually work. But I wasn't interested in him at all. Then my dad said one sentence that changed everything. You don't like him? Well. Your archenemy, Whitney, is dying to marry him. She's already got people trying to set them up. I panicked immediately. Whitney liked him. Wanted to marry him, then I absolutely had to steal him. I started dating Maverick. Originally, I planned to just rub it in Whitney's face, but a few months later, I fell headfirst into love. I fell for Maverick Sterling. He calmly took control of everything about me. He even transformed me into the person my dad had dreamed of making me. Long black hair, always wearing dresses because he liked it. I happily changed until later. I found photos on his computer of him and Celeste. From their college days, turns out Maverick didn't love me with long black hair and white dresses. Turns out Maverick had his own cliché. White moonlight too, but back then I was so madly in love with him. I didn't even have the courage to confront him. Besides, before Maverick and I got married, Celeste had already married someone else. So honestly, I always felt lucky. But now Celeste was divorced. She came back thinking about Maverick being with her last night. Spending the entire night with her. I couldn't help crying again. Aria quickly dragged me to the closet. Pulled out this super tight little black dress and shoved it at me. Then mysteriously produced new lingerie. Wear this, look how skinny you've gotten. You're practically flat-chested now. I clutched the clothes, sniffling at Aria. Isn't this inappropriate at my age? Shouldn't I be a little more modest? Aria looked ready to roll her eyes into another dimension. Vivian, you're 25 years old. A gorgeous 25-year-old woman. If you want to be modest, wait until you're 52. Okay, fine. Two 25-year-old gorgeous women. One in black, one in white. Both in strapless bodycon dresses and stilettos. Strutting into the club, at first I felt a little shy. I've been so proper and modest for 2 years. Suddenly being this hot and sexy felt uncomfortable. But after one drink, my mindset shifted. I'd already signed the divorce papers. Maverick probably couldn't wait to sign them, too. Monday we'd go to City Hall and we'd be completely done. When he suddenly agreed to that arranged marriage, it was probably because Celeste getting married had hurt him. My lips trembled, I fought back tears. Let loose, even pulled my neckline down further. And dragged Aria onto the dance floor. With slightly unsteady steps. Dance floor was packed with people dancing together. Soon I found that wild, uninhibited feeling. A cute guy came over to hit on me. I looked him over, thought he was pretty hot. Weirdly, his eyes kind of looked like Maverick's. I grabbed his collar, his hand immediately wrapped around my waist. Like everyone else on the dance floor. We started dancing together. I wasn't used to being this close to a strange man. I instinctively moved to push his hand away. But suddenly the music stopped dead. The silence in the club wasn't just quiet, it was heavy, it pressed against my eardrums, the DJ booth had gone dark, the flashing strobe lights were replaced by the harsh, unforgiving glare of the house lights. I blinked, blinded for a second, the cute guy with the Maverick eyes froze, his hand slipping from my waist as a wall of black-suited men parted the crowd like the Red Sea. And there he was. Maverick Sterling walked through the center of the dance floor. He was still wearing the same suit he'd worn to the office, but the tie was gone, the top button undone, and his face was a mask of terrifying glacial calm. He didn't look at the bouncers, he didn't look at the crowd whispering behind their hands. He looked only at me, and then, at the man standing next to me. Hand, Maverick said, his voice wasn't loud, but it carried across the silent room. The guy next to me stammered, excuse me? Take your hand off my wife. The guy recoiled as if burned. I stepped forward, the alcohol in my system giving me a liquid kind of courage. I crossed my arms, pushing my chest up, highlighting the cleavage the dress was designed to show. Ex-wife, I corrected loud enough for the back row to hear, or, future ex-wife, the papers are on your desk, remember? Maverick stopped 3 feet from me, up close. He looked exhausted, there were shadows under his eyes that no amount of money could hide, and the scent of tobacco and cold winter air clung to his coat. Vivian, he said, his tone warning, come home, now. I'm busy. I gestured to the guy, who was currently looking for an exit strategy. We were dancing. Maverick's jaw clenched, he signaled to his head of security, clear the building, everyone out, now. You can't do that. Arya shouted from behind me, though she looked a little terrified. This is my sister's bar. I'll buy the building tomorrow and burn it down if I have to, Maverick shot back, never breaking eye contact with me. Vivian, car. The patrons were already scurrying out, sensing the volatile atmosphere. The cute guy whispered a quick sorry and bolted. Within 2 minutes, it was just me, Arya, and the king of the Sterlings in an empty, confetti-littered hall. I took the money, Maverick, I said, my voice trembling slightly as the adrenaline faded. Your mom paid me, your dad paid me, I'm rich, I'm single, and I'm done. Maverick closed the distance. He didn't grab me roughly. Instead, he took off his suit jacket and dropped it over my shoulders, covering the exposed skin of my back. The warmth of his body heat trapped in the silk lining hit me, and for a second, I wanted to cry. My mother doesn't decide when my marriage ends, he said low in my ear, and neither do you. You want to talk business? We talk business at home. I don't have a home with you. You didn't come back last night. I was working. With Celeste? He paused. That split-second hesitation broke my heart all over again. She was there, he admitted, but it wasn't what you think. Save it for the judge. I shrugged off his jacket, letting it hit the sticky floor. Monday, 9 a.m., City Hall, be there, or I swear to God, Maverick, I will make the divorce so public the Sterling stock will drop faster than your mother's jawline. I grabbed Arya's hand. Let's go. Maverick didn't stop me this time, he just watched me walk away, his jacket lying in a heap at his feet. The weekend passed in a blur of expensive wine and Arya's pep talks. By Monday morning, I was sober, dressed in a sharp red pantsuit, armor for the modern woman, and standing on the steps of City Hall. 9 a.m. came. 9:15 a.m. passed. 9:30 a.m. He wasn't coming. My phone buzzed. It was a text from his secretary. Mr. Sterling is in a meeting. He says there is a clause in the prenup that requires a 30-day cooling-off period before filing. Please check page 42. I screamed internally. I called my lawyer. He's right, the lawyer sighed. It's standard in high-asset marriages. You have to wait 30 days living separately before the filing is valid. 30 days. He was buying time. I didn't go back to the apartment. I went to the bank. I deposited the 2 checks, $2 million. Then, I went to a high-end salon. Cut it, I told the stylist. The long black hair? But it's gorgeous. It's boring. Cut it, a bob, sharp, and dye it. What color? Honey blonde, the kind that looks expensive and dangerous. When I walked out 3 hours later, Vivian Sterling was dead. Vivian Carter was back, and she looked fierce. I didn't hide. I went to the one place I knew would drive them crazy. I started showing up at the same charity galas and art auctions the Sterlings frequented, but I didn't go as a wife, I went as a donor. 2 weeks later, at the Sapphire Charity Ball, I walked in wearing a backless gold gown that shimmered like liquid metal. The hush that fell over the room was delicious. Mrs. Sterling was there, holding court with Celeste. Celeste looked perfect, pale, fragile, wearing white. Of course, when they saw me, Mrs. Sterling looked like she'd swallowed a lemon. You have some nerve, Mrs. Sterling hissed as I approached the champagne tower. I paid you to leave. And I left, I smiled. Taking a flute, I left the house. I didn't leave the planet, Mrs. Sterling. Besides, I'm spending your money. It seemed rude not to show you what I bought. I gestured to my dress. Celeste stepped forward, her voice soft and sickly sweet. Vivian, please, don't cause a scene. Maverick is so stressed right now, he's barely sleeping. If you actually loved him, you wouldn't be doing this. I laughed, a genuine, loud laugh. Celeste, honey, if you actually loved him, you wouldn't have married that oil tycoon 3 years ago and only came back when he went broke. The crowd around us gasped. Celeste's face went red. That's enough. The crowd parted. Maverick appeared. He looked worse than he had at the club, thinner, harder. He stared at my short, blonde hair for a long moment, an unreadable expression in his dark eyes. You cut your hair, he said. I like it, it dries faster. It suits you, he said. Mrs. Sterling gasped. Maverick. She is humiliating us. Mother, go sit down, Maverick snapped, not looking at her. Celeste, go with her. But. Go. He waited until they left, then stepped into my personal space. The tension between us crackled, electric and dangerous. 30 days is up next week, I reminded him. I'm not signing, Vivian. Why? You have your white moonlight back, your mom is happy, Harper is happy, everyone wins. I'm not happy. He took a step closer, lowering his voice. I didn't touch her, Vivian, that night. She came to the office. She brought dinner. I told her to leave. She refused. I worked in the conference room. She slept on the couch in the lobby. That's it. And you couldn't text me? You couldn't call? My phone died, and I thought he looked away, a rare moment of vulnerability. I thought you knew me better than that. I thought you knew I don't cheat. I honor my contracts. Our marriage is a contract. Is that all it is? I asked, my voice breaking. A contract? He looked at me, his eyes searching my face. It was, at first, but you know it changed. Too little, too late, Maverick, I set my glass down, see you in court. 3 days before the 30-day mark, the news broke. Sterling Corp under investigation, stock plummets. It wasn't Maverick's fault, it was his uncle, Harper's dad, who had been embezzling funds, but as the CEO, Maverick took the hit, the board was calling for his resignation, the family name was being dragged through the mud. I watched it on the news in my apartment. Serves them right, Arya said, eating popcorn, karma. But I felt sick, I knew how much that company meant to him, it was his life. Then, the phone rang, it wasn't Maverick, it was his father. Vivian, the old man's voice was weak, Maverick collapsed, he's at St. Jude's Hospital, gastric bleeding, stress and alcohol. I didn't think, I didn't pack, I just grabbed my keys. When I got to the hospital, the VIP wing was chaos, Mrs. Sterling was crying, Harper was screaming at a nurse, Celeste was there, looking useless and checking her makeup in a compact mirror. I walked past them all. You can't go in there. Harper shrieked, you're not family anymore. I'm his wife on paper for 3 more days, I snapped, sit down and shut up, Harper. I pushed open the door. Maverick was hooked up to monitors, his skin the color of the sheets, he looked small, I'd never seen him look small. I sat in the chair beside the bed, I didn't hold his hand, I just watched him breathe. You came, he rasped hours later, it was dark outside. Your dad called. I'm fine, go home. You have a hole in your stomach, Maverick, you're not fine. He tried to sit up and winced, the board meeting is tomorrow, if I'm not there, they vote me out. You can't go. I have to. You're an idiot, I stood up, I'll go. He stared at me, what? I own 5% of the shares, part of the marital assets you refuse to split yet, and I have your proxy, I signed it a year ago when you went to surgery for your knee, remember? It's still valid. Vivian, they will eat you alive. Let them try, I've survived your mother for 2 years, a board of grumpy old men is a vacation. The next morning, I walked into the Sterling Corp boardroom, I wore black, severe, sharp, expensive. Gentlemen, I said, throwing a file onto the table, Mr. Sterling is indisposed, I am speaking for him. This is a joke, one director scoffed, this is the wife? The one causing the scandals? I am the wife who knows where the bodies are buried, I lied smoothly, and I know that Uncle Marcus didn't act alone, I have the audit logs. I didn't have the logs, but I knew how to bluff, my father was a gambler, I learned from the best. Maverick cleans up your messes, I said, pacing the room, he works himself into the hospital to make you money, you want to vote him out? Fine, but if you do, I sell my shares to the competitor, and I release the press statement about which one of you knew about the embezzlement and said nothing. Silence. We keep Maverick, the chairman grunted finally, but he needs to fix the public image, the divorce it looks unstable. The divorce is on hold, I said, the words tasting like ash, for now. When I left the meeting, I felt like I was going to throw up, but I had saved him. Maverick was discharged a week later, he didn't go to the Sterling Manor, he came to my apartment. He stood in my small living room, looking out of place among my colorful throw pillows and art supplies. You saved the company, he said. I saved my settlement, I corrected, if the stock tanked, my divorce payout would be worthless. Liar, he smiled, it was a real smile, it reached his eyes, you still love me. I'm angry at you, there's a difference. I fired Celeste. I froze, what? I fired her, and I banned her from the building, I told my mother that if she invites Celeste to dinner one more time, I will cut off her credit cards. You did? I read the divorce papers, Vivian, really read them, you didn't ask for a dime, you just wanted out, that terrified me, it made me realize you weren't playing a game, you were actually gone. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a velvet box, not a diamond ring. It was a key. I bought a house, not the Sterling Manor, a house in the hills, modern, lots of light, no servants, just a cleaning service, no rules about skirts or hair, no mother popping in. He placed the key on the table. I tore up the divorce papers, but I won't force you, if you want to leave, I'll sign new ones tomorrow, but I'm asking you give me a chance to court you, not the arranged date, not the Sterling wife role, just you and me, Vivian and Maverick. I looked at the key, I looked at him, the arrogance was gone, he was just a man, asking for a second chance. One date, I said, holding up a finger, and if you mention work, I'm walking out. Deal. The music at the club was thumping. Look at you! Arya shouted over the bass, CEO's wife, business owner, and you still have the best legs in the city. I laughed, adjusting the strap of my mini dress, shorter than the one I wore that fateful night. I felt a hand on my waist, I didn't flinch this time, I leaned back into the solid warmth of a chest I knew by heart. You're late, I said, turning around. Maverick kissed me, he didn't care who was watching, he didn't care about the cameras or the Sterling image. Traffic, he murmured against my lips, and I had to stop to pick up something. He held up a takeout bag, cheeseburgers, for afterwards. I grinned. Across town, Mrs. Sterling was sitting in her empty mansion, complaining to a maid who wasn't listening. Celeste was working as a receptionist at a dental clinic, looking for her next target. And I was here, dancing with my husband. He spun me around, and for the first time in 2 years, I didn't feel like a guest in someone else's life, I was the main character. I love you, Viv, he whispered. I know, I said, pulling him closer, I love you too, now shut up and dance.